Sie für das Kartell?
Ich werde nichts sagen.
I think that most people don't know this, but about half of the global economy are these black and gray markets. They have a huge impact on our daily lives, and yet we know so little about them. So, I've been covering black markets for almost 20 years, for almost my whole career as a journalist. And I've always been sort of attracted to sort of the underworld and, the hidden and dark corners of our world. And I think partly it is because the more I started reporting, the more I started realizing how widespread they are and how they affect all of us. And so I just kept going back. There's a lot of security procedures and planning and training that goes into place before we even hit the ground. A lot of it that doesn't air. People don't see it when they're watching the show because obviously no story is worth a life. But these are important stories, and they again have an effect on the world. And learning about them is incredibly important. I think it was probably sort of our closest call of the season while filming the Cocaine Queens episode about women in the drug trade. We'd spend months and months trying to gain access to this woman who was one of the leaders of the Los Caparros, which is a Colombian cartel. And after many months, she finally allowed us to go visit her, meet her in her compound. And we get there and she's surrounded by her bodyguards with AK-47s. And as soon as we start talking to her, we realize there's a commotion all around us. The bodyguards are freaking out. They've come, they picked her up, they grab her, they take her to security, they start yelling at us, telling us to leave as fast as possible. And we're rushing out of there. And as we're leaving the compound, we hear gunshots being fired right behind us. And we were told that they'd been ambushed by a rival cartel. So it was definitely a very sort of close call for everyone. I love to say that I use gender bias to my advantage all the time. I think that being a woman actually has helped me tremendously in my career. Of course, I've had to go through what all of us women have gone through, which is inequality in the workplace, which is, people treating me differently and not as well sometimes because I am a woman, or having lower expectations of me because I'm a woman. But actually in black markets, in the world that I do this, it actually helps because I think people see me as less threatening. I think people constantly underestimate me because I am a woman. They always think that, oh, she's going to be too scared to ask the tough questions, or she's going to be too scared to do this. And I'm constantly proving them wrong. And more importantly than that, I think that it's the empathy, the characteristic that I think is such a female characteristic, empathy and compassion. It's something that we women just tend to do from when we were born. No, thank God, nothing has ever happened. I mean, there's always threats ahead of time towards all of us, including myself, where if you don't do this, I know where you live, or I know where your fixer lives, or I'll come and find you. But we're used to that. As a journalist, I think the biggest and best tool that I have is the empathy that I carry and the way that I treat people, always with respect and with dignity. If I show up with a group surrounded by my own bodyguards, what I'm telling them is that, look, I'm afraid of you and I don't trust you. And that's exactly the opposite of the message that I'm trying to send. And it's really the opposite of what allows me into their worlds. What I'm telling them is that I am here not to judge you. I am here because I truly am curious about your world and your life and why you do what you do. And I think that is what eventually, why they eventually allow me into their worlds.
Schwarzmärkte hautnah mit Mariana van Zeller ab 10. Februar 22 Uhr auf National Geographic.